It never fails to amaze me, the hypocrisy, the astounding amount of hypocrisy from the left. So let me get this straight. You're mad at Elon Musk for hiring kids in their 20s because they're not old enough to go into a position like that. They don't have the life experience. They don't have proper experience. I don't trust them. They're too young. That's what I've seen from people on the left. When just last week you were protesting that children are apparently old enough to make a decision that will alter their body for the rest of their lives at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. Are we getting that right? You're not old enough to use the degree that you earned in a job revolved around that degree, but you are old enough at half of the age to know that you're in the wrong body. Am I getting that right? The goalposts go like this every single day. It's astounding. Do Democrats even know, the young Democrats, do you guys even know what your party stood for the last 100 years? Do you want to know what you've stood for? Smaller government. Smaller government. That's what you've wanted. And now you're pissed off that laws are getting sent back down to the states where people have more control and can vote on the matter seasonally and annually instead of just sitting things in the federal government hands to take away from you at any time, and you can only vote on that every 4 years, and God forbid that doesn't go your way because then you're stuck in there for 8 years.
We'll fight against George. We'll fight Elon Musk.
Sometimes when I see them like this, acting this drama, when you take a look at this, a federal judge just ruled that President Trump has the authority to freeze and limit some federal funding. According to Fox News, the government can limit access to federal funds on the basis of the applicable authorizing statutes, regulations, and terms. Then, that the previous order does not bar both the president and much of the federal government from exercising their own lawful authorities to withhold funding without the approval of the district court. This is a major court win for this administration. It is good to see not every judge is a Democrat propaganda shield. You saw what these guys did. I don't know why they continue to freak out, singing crazy songs like what you just saw, now going back into Elon Musk.
It's a constitutional crisis. The Dems are saying what Doge is doing, it's a constitutional crisis. So I just have a couple questions. When back in 2020, when we were being told we had to do things by someone that we did not vote for, how come that wasn't called a constitutional crisis? When we allegedly misplaced 500,000 children, how come that wasn't deemed a constitutional crisis? When we had an invasion at our border, why wasn't that called a constitutional crisis? When we had people coming across the border that were criminals in their country coming over to our country and doing all kind of horrible things to the American citizens, unaliving people, all this stuff, taking over apartment communities allegedly, how come that wasn't a constitutional crisis? Where were the rallies and the subcommittee hearings and the lawsuits over the constitutional crisis of those things? Or were those things not constitutional crisis? Why wasn't it a constitutional crisis for the people in North Carolina and Florida and Tennessee during Hurricane Helene and all of the shenanigans that was on the heels of FEMA, allegedly? How come that wasn't a constitutional crisis? How come the wildfires and the misuse of all of the funds that went to California and allegedly the reservoirs being not filled with water and the hydrants being empty, how come that wasn't a constitutional crisis? How come there were no rallies and subcommittee hearings and lawsuits? So I just want to get clear. So Dems, come in the comments and let me know what deems a constitutional crisis. Or is it just when you're getting found out about things that you decide you want to call it a constitutional crisis, whatever it is, you want to have a rally using all kind of profanity. You want to file frivolous lawsuits. You want to call subcommittee hearings that we pay for, and you're upset because Doge is auditing where my taxpayer dollars are going and where your taxpayer dollars are going. And now the Dems are calling it a constitutional crisis. I just want to get clear on what the parameters are that sets what's a constitutional crisis and what is not. What deems them to get in front of federal buildings and rally at the top of their lungs with microphones and calling people names and saying a bunch of things that are just completely not true. I just want to be clear on what is a constitutional crisis from the Dems' point of view, because allegedly, or apparently I should say, all of the things that I just referenced were not considered constitutional crisis. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. It's a constitutional crisis. The Dems are saying, how come the wildfires and the misuse of all of the funds that went to California, and allegedly the reservoirs being not filled with water and the hydrants being empty, how come that wasn't a constitutional crisis? How come there were no rallies and subcommittee hearings and lawsuits? So I just want to get clear. So Dems, come in the comments and let me know what deems a constitutional crisis.
Complain about this administration about transparency when this president takes open questions on a daily basis, yet Joe Biden didn't show up for a press conference in 6 months, is insane.
Just love the whole this segment. I don't usually watch CNN, but the whole this video is on point. Sonia is saying the truth. Biden was not taking questions, and this same CNN, this same journalist used to stand up and show they will protect him like there's a lot of transparency. Trump take questions. He doesn't even select. Now, allowing Musk to answer questions pertaining to what they have been doing, they are still upset about that. What transparency do you want? I really want to know. Because to me, this is transparency. Whatever thing Democrats are struggling to pull, I don't get it. I understand they always struggle to push their propaganda in such a way that...
Who was the one standing, taking most of the questions, having the president in this odd, jarring setting, looking up to him? Well, it was Elon. This was Musk's first press conference since Trump's election, and he took over. Trump literally, in all these images, kind of looked like he'd been pushed off to the side because Elon was the center of it. I mean, at times Trump seemed annoyed. I mean, it wasn't just that Musk dominated. He did speak for about 20 of the 32 minutes. So about 63.5% if you're counting of the time. It was that Musk physically owned the entire event. He and his child were the center of the attention.
Yes, I understand. You don't watch the view, but there is something very important I want you to see. Because when I post videos about these people complain, oh, why are you putting this cackle in the view? Yeah, but sometimes we need to do that. Whoopi Goldberg claims that no one elected Elon Musk campaigned with Trump since August, and Trump was completely transparent that Musk was serve as an advisor for making the government more efficient. These same people mocked him. Who is Elon Musk? Oh, this. Now, when Elon Musk started his work, they are frightened by it. That is the funniest part I've seen with Libras. The kind of hypocrisy. Some they pull off and even went further to mock Elon Musk's son. I think I did a video about what actually happened at the White House. Some liberal media came out to say, oh, Trump was just sitting one side. Oh, Elon Musk acted as the president. Oh, he was so... I saw all types of reactions pertaining to that, but I'm used to with all this propaganda they put out. So when I see things like this, I don't even bother because I know the gymnastics.
For 2 weeks, we heard this idea that they spent $50 million on condoms in Gaza.
Right.
It's not even Gaza in the Middle East. It's Gaza in Mozambique. They didn't even know that.
And the number was wrong, too.
And then he goes on, Elon Musk goes on and said, well, I made a mistake. Meanwhile, you perpetuated the lie for the past 2 weeks, just like they did about these Haitians eating cats and dogs. Lies, and more lies, and then it goes out there.
I'm going to say, you want to cut something? Cut some of the stuff you're taking out. Because, I get that there's fat everywhere, and yes, we'd all like to see less of it. But what you're doing is a lot more than just cutting fat. You're giving people information that they should not have because they're not the people whose information it is.
What is really rich to me, again, is that he
is not elected, and he is talking about our American democracy. A man who grew up in South Africa during the apartheid era, benefited from apartheid. And apartheid is the very antithesis to our American democracy, because in South Africa today, there is, 81% of South Africans' population are black Africans. Yet only 4% of those black Africans own the land. So this is the person that's supposed to be teaching us about democracy.
Well, and the main thing he leaned into was he kept saying, this is all public record.
Yes, you might be wondering why she is bringing up this topic about South Africa. Recently, Trump sanctioned South Africa because of this, because they are taking away lands from white people. It is crazy. They recently passed a bill, and I think I'm going to do a full segment about this so you can see exactly what is happening. Elon Musk has been, really against what is happening in South Africa. They will say, oh, they should take away, they should cut, they should do this to white people. I have seen politicians in this location doing that. It should not be happening in 2025. That is gross. Let me not even mention it on this video. Thank you guys for always being the sharing on my videos. I don't want to make it long. If you see clips behind here, this is for the algorithm. Someone asked me, is it helping your channel? Yes, it is helping the channel. If it was not helping, I would not put.
Mind-boggling that he would be shutting down PEPFAR.
A bully and a thug who is the president of the United States, U.S., it's everywhere.
There is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits. A chance to see what happens when you take a business approach to the government in the White House. We're seeing right now with this whole U.S. aid thing, where they're uncovering massive amounts of corruption.
And also, I got to say,
Don't you agree?
I totally agree.
Essential.
Early on, immediately.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
To her.
The EU does not treat the U.S. fairly on trade, and that he has some big complaints. Is that true?
Right? And it doesn't mean that we should sit and pretend that it's suddenly okay, that this new presidency is just going to keep on keeping on. That is not the case. And
Awful things have happened. And sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Future president and his gag
are somebody in policy.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning. And, I flew here last night. I was on a plane.
You getting water to areas that need...
He's been trained his whole life to do.
What do we do?
Right now you're looking... History, remember it.
As a country about January.
Yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know.
Jim Jordan.
Josh Green, the governor.
Watch the news or talk.
Now look, I have a lot of...
The Democratic Party has about everything.
The next department that appears to be on the chopping block is the Department of Education. Just earlier today,
the biggest loser on Team Chiefs, literally right next to us was Taylor Swift. And then to the left was Donald Trump. Those are boos.
Well, the Super Bowl is officially underway.